Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be taking a look at what's in this black box, which is the HP Spectre x360 laptop. This is a 13-inch model. It has an i5 Whiskey Lake CPU, 8 gigs of DDR4 RAM, and a 256 gig SSD drive. It does have Thunderbolt 3, an IR camera, and a bunch of other cool features. And it does have a couple other variants, so you can get this in a 15-inch screen with a 4K display if you want. You can bump up the RAM to 16 gigs, or you can upgrade the CPU from an i5 to an i7. I chose to stick with an i5 processor. I'll get into that a little bit more later, but I'm itching to get my hands on this laptop, so let's unbox this thing. So just looking at the outside of the box, there's a little spec sheet here. It's mostly just telling us some model information like the specs I had mentioned before. Apparently it was worth noting that there's no optical drive in this. I would assume that everyone already knows that this isn't going to have a CD drive in it. Windows 10, touchscreen with multi-touch enabled, Bang & Olufsen audio, etc, etc. The packaging is done really well. There's foam around the inside box, and that's the product box, so it's not going to get dinged up or anything like that. The inside box is a really cool gold and black design with the HP and Spectre branding. So just taking off the plastic. This is already leaps ahead of the Dell I looked at last week. The shine on the Spectre text is a really nice touch. Just wiggle the top off here and get a look inside. So it looks like we got a few pieces of paper in here. These are both setup instructions. Both are just the same thing in a few different languages. Then we have the actual laptop all wrapped in plastic. It's set in the box here. So there's a little plastic tab here you can lift the laptop out with. We have some more product information underneath here. The cardboard pulls away, and we have a bunch of goodies in here. 65-watt wall charger, which actually looks really cool. It's got a braided fabric cable, which is pretty neat. They also included some nice throw-ins here. You get USB-C to HDMI adapter. And this appears to be your stylus pen. So let's get back to the actual laptop. Looks like they have plastic that just peels off along the edges here. Wow, this thing looks so good. Honestly, I don't think I've seen this much of an effort put into design of a laptop before. It's pretty light. Now that this thing's out of the box, let's take a closer look at the laptop itself. So the color on this machine is an eggplant matte base color with lighter gold chrome accents. The edges are almost all squared, so while it does look fairly aggressive, it still has a really luxurious look to it. It has a fairly small form factor. On HP's site, they listed it at 12.16 inches by 8.58 inches, and it's just over half an inch tall, with the hinge side being slightly taller than the newer MacBook Pros. It has two Thunderbolt 3 connectors. One is on the right side while the other is on the back corner and comes out at an angle, so you can actually keep your power cable out of the way when it's plugged in. We have a 3.5mm headphone jack and a micro SD slot on the side with the Thunderbolt connectors, and one of the cooler features, which is the webcam kill switch. So no more tape over the webcam for some of you guys. On the other side, we have a regular USB port, which is kind of a nice touch, and the power button is actually right on this back corner, again keeping it out of the way from accidentally bumping into it or clicking it. Honestly, I can't say enough good things about the design. The keyboard on this laptop feels really good, much better than my 2017 MacBook with the butterfly keyboard. The keys have a decent amount of travel at 1.4 millimeters. So for reference, the newer MacBooks with the butterfly keyboard have 0.5 millimeters of travel. The Dell XPS has 1.2 millimeters. And the 2015 MacBook with the older style keyboard that everyone likes is about 1.5 millimeters. The keys are backlit, they're a decent size, and they're spaced out really well. As we mentioned before, this unit comes with the Intel Core i5-8265U processor, which is an 8th gen Whiskey Lake CPU. You can also get an i7 CPU if you want, but you might not need it depending on what you're using the laptop for. If we take a look at some of the benchmarks, you'll notice that the i7 performs a little bit better than the i5, but if you were to compare this i5 to the last generation Kaby Lake i7, you'll notice that they perform very similarly. The 8GB of RAM should be fine for me and should be okay for most use cases. This isn't going to be a gaming machine, and I'm not going to be running really memory intensive applications or anything like that. If I do anything like that, it's going to be on a desktop machine. So far, the brief time that I've used this, it does feel really snappy. It starts up really quick, restarts really quick. I don't notice any lag or anything, and I haven't noticed any fan noise at all. Moving on to the display. So this model is the 1080p 13.3 inch display. And while the resolution obviously isn't as good as a Retina or 4K display, the color looks great. And this panel is supposed to be really power efficient, which kind of makes me excited to see what the battery life is going to be on this thing. It's a convertible machine, so we have full auto rotate. You can tent stand it or use it in tablet mode as well. Obviously in tablet mode, the keyboard is disabled. The pen that was supplied in the box seems to track pretty well from playing around with it for a few minutes. One of the drawbacks is it does have a bit of a bezel along the top and the bottom of the screen. But for a 1080p display, really great color and nothing really to complain about. So overall, I'm really impressed with this laptop. I mean, there's really not much to dislike. The design is amazing and feels like a premium laptop. It's really unique. The keyboard feels amazing. The display is really solid, very colorful and vivid. And it's nice that they gave you one USB port along with those two Thunderbolt connectors. And even the accessories, the power adapter with the braided cord. It's nice that they threw in an HDMI adapter and a stylus pen. Again, super impressed. I am going to be doing a full review that's more in-depth, so if you're interested in seeing that, or if you just want to see more of these types of videos, please subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.